Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today I'm gonna discuss chapter 7, what is second language acquisition and what are the theories of the second language learning. So let's start. All of us can we know that the second language acquisition it comes after the mother tongue, which is the first language acquisition. Actually, okay, there are certain differences, but in the same time, okay, there are certain similarities. So let's start. Okay, what are the main points that second language acquisition which emphasis on? Actually, it emphasis on the processing and the developing knowledge, as well as okay, as well as can the use of knowledge by human beings who know each other. I mean, okay, by kids and adults who know each other language. So here, second language acquisition actually it has two parts, okay, which is theoretical importance and practical importance. What I mean by theoretical importance, actually, it emphasizes on the connections and the communication of the messages. Okay, I mean the utterances, how they use the utterances and the sentences throughout interaction, as well as the meaning of these sentences. So while practical from its name, which is a practical one, okay, whenever I did okay the theoretical part, I'm getting to the practical one. It's not only talking about language, but I have to apply this language I'm learning okay in real life. I have to practice every day. This is meaning okay, the practical importance. So here it's really it shows how languages okay, are learned and processed will lead to more effective actually teaching practice. So this is the main 2 points about the second language acquisition. So here let's go to let's move to the other thing, which is theoretical or theories of the second language learning. Actually, we have certain perspectives. One of these perspectives, okay, we have many perspectives, we're gonna count them, and each perspective is divided into a certain theory. So let's start okay with the first one, okay, which is linguistic perspectives. All of us can know how linguistic perspectives okay, plays an important role in language, especially one of the scholars case Chomsky how shows this point of how the knowledge process, how the it presents throughout the innate knowledge. It shows how the specialized model of the human mind, okay, containing innate knowledge, I mean innate faculty of principles that okay, all human beings share. I mean, all the countries, all around the world share these principles and characteristics. So here, this one relates to linguistics, the second one related to psychological. Actually, psychological, it doesn't deal with the specialized model, but actually its emphasis on the cognitive mechanisms. I mean here by cognitive, how the brain is gonna to shows his role throughout the processing and the mechanisms of our brain. Okay, it shows the cognitive mechanisms that are responsible for human language, as well as the information, how they acquire the information. So let's start here okay with the first one of these theories, which is called universal grammar, that has done okay in 1986 by Noam Chomsky, what we call him Naum. Actually, he's one of the most scholars okay, who is interested in language, how languages are present in mind, or how languages are present in brain. And he deals okay, with the competence and performance, okay, especially with competence that deals okay, with the knowledge of brain, while performance okay with the utterances okay of these what we have in the brain. I'm going to get to utter these okay the cognitive what I have in my cognitive. So Chomsky actually described this theory as knowledge, because as I said before, because he depends more on the competence. That's why he emphasizes on this language as knowledge. So Chomsky he says that the language actually, or I mean the children uh, okay, did not acquire language from with your throughout life, okay. But this is totally different that why Kate rejected from the other points of views, because we know that Kate child, when he comes to life, he's gonna to imitate and repeat certain words or maybe expression just by his facial expression or maybe body postures, and then Kate starts to repeat certain or uttered he starts okay uttering certain sounds or maybe repeat certain words okay, in different stages. So here, but Chomsky actually shows that language is really one of the skills, one of the important skills that plays okay in the cognitive human mind. So, but actually, what Chomsky emphasizes on that. Uh, what emphasis on okay, that most parents did not give attention to their children. That's mean they did not, the parents did not give a systematic feedback whenever okay, their children or kids okay did a mistake and errors okay, they did not give this systematic feedback and correct their errors, and this is when okay, it's going to affect on their children's mind. Actually, whenever can we will see that can most of the student maybe can maybe most of the students in the primary schools, most of the students can they have just like slips of tongue, because you know why, because they maybe face certain problems, or maybe one of the members of the families can shout at him in indirect way, and he's frightened. This is when he is gonna to affect on his language, in his language on his brain actually, and then okay, the brain will not work systematically, so then they will be damaged in the cognitive mechanisms. So then this will in get to affect on his pronunciation and his tongue. Then there will be just certain slips of the tongue and false thoughts. This is one of the Chomsky's theories. Actually, we know that universal grammar actually deals with the second language acquisition, and he says that the second language acquisition actually it's really important and it's really more easier to acquire by kids, okay, and children, okay, rather than or more than adults. And that universal grammar it has certain principles and rules and certain procedures that are shared around generally around the world. So this is very important, and he actually emphasizes on certain that competence and performance competence. It deals how the use of language, okay, that mean what I know about my language. For example, okay, in Iraqi, what I know about Iraqi, of course I will not, I don't know everything, because I'm specialized in English. That's not okay. I know everything about English rather than in my country, because I did not specialize in Arabic, in Arabic field or in an Arabic department. So I know here more things about English. This is when it relates to competence, because what I know more than K performance, K actually it deals how language user says something or maybe understands something or even writes. So this is the thing that Chomsky emphasis on. So let's go on to the other thing, to other theory. Actually, okay, this theory it's related, this is your let's look into this person you can see here. This is correct. It's really most of the important scholars around the world who are really interested in the monetary theory and the second language acquisition as well, just like Chomsky. Then this his name is actually Krashen. Questions actually deals and agrees with Chomsky about his theory that in one point that most of the parents actually did not give a feedback to their children whenever they did a mistake or error. So here Krashen shows that shows that the difference, okay, between acquisition and learning. Whenever, okay, when we say that acquisition, it comes to my mind, okay, there is an observation I have, okay, the general view about for certain thing, or maybe about the word. Then learning, I'm going to apply the observation in a practical way. I will make it clear. For example, okay, I really like a certain flower, and this flower, okay, it comes, okay, it draws in my mind, okay, there is a tree in Signifi where we say that. So I have an image, okay, and really I like it, this, okay, the shape of flower. So this is all the observation I'm gonna to. This was called acquisition. But then, okay, I have to learn. Okay, I have to learn. For example, I have to learn how to draw this flower. So I'm going to apply it on a sheet of paper, and there is a pen, there is, okay, certain markers and other things. I'm going to apply it. After the applying, here we have learning. This, so learning actually, it shows that how the development of language from the acquisition to learning. So this one, okay, it's really, it's gonna to the examples. So let's go here, okay, to the monitor theory. We know that, okay, monitor theory, it deals, okay, with the difference hypothesis, five hypotheses. Okay, one of these hypotheses actually deals with the monitor hypothesis between okay, monitor hypothesis, acquiring system, what else, let me remember, natural order system or hypothesis, effective filter hypothesis, or maybe the last one, okay, which is, okay, comprehensive input hypothesis. So here we know that, okay, how these hypotheses, okay, affected on the mind, in the same time, okay, how the mind is going to take its place in order to applies with these hypotheses in order to affect our language. We know that in the second language learners actually, so the question is, okay, does the second language learner, okay, or are the second language uh, the learners in the second language the same are the learners in the first language? Actually, there are some in one point they go the same stages. There are no different stages. For example, that there are certain stages or phases according to the second language position. Of course not. Okay, there are certain stages and they oblige, okay, to follow it. Okay, and we cannot get skip one of the stages, can go to other, okay, before to fulfill the first one, okay, and we have done it. So this is, okay, what we mean here by these stages. Actually, let's go to the comprehension input hypothesis. Actually, this is deals, okay, with the linguistic inputs, how it shows that, okay, how this hypothesis exposure meaning, okay, how different linguistic inputs, I mean, how the learners gonna to develop his language, okay, how the learners shows the development, okay, throughout, okay, his competence, okay. It shows that, okay, how the language actually it comes step by step, okay, it's complex or maybe complicated rather than the previous stage. So here the language is really totally, it comes different and complicated. While to the effective filter hypothesis, actually here it shows that it deals with the feeling, with the attitudes, with the opinions, with the emotions, okay. Actually it shows that, okay, the successfulness, okay, the of this acquisition of learning. Let's and actually it's really deals with the how to learn second language, okay, according to comprehensive input, because, okay, it deals with the input and output. So here let's go to behaviorism. We know that, okay, behaviorism, okay, uh we've already talked about linguistics behaviorism, sorry, okay, linguistics perspectives, and now we're going to talk about psychological perspectives. Psychological perspectives, okay, that's it's complete to the linguistic, because, okay, it just like there are, okay, sub-disciplines, okay, one it relates what, okay, to the linguistic perspectives, and other one it's just like a branch, okay. a tree and has certain branches. So let's start, okay, with the psychological perspectives. This one, it has four theories. Okay, one of them, okay, behaviorism, that has done, okay, but one by one of the most important scholars. Okay, his name is Skinner. Actually, Skinner, you can see he's an old man. Okay, and he has done this theory, okay, 1975. Sorry, 1957, because can memorize the material, so I'm talking fast as well. So here, uh, he shows that, okay, how this language it deals with, especially with teaching, especially with the psychology. That's mean kids acquire when there, whenever, okay, there is psychology, whenever, okay, there is a language, because sometimes, okay, I cannot reflect my language without psychology, without emotion, without my attitude, without my reaction. And there is a balance, okay, between learning and language, as he emphasizes. But the question is this competence, I mean, is it learning and teaching are the same? Or I mean, key, is it the competence and performance key, is it the same as comprehension and prediction? So here the question is not, of course is not, okay, each one, okay, has a feature, has its own characteristic, is totally different from the other. If I want to go to before this one, okay, if I want to go and give an example, this one, okay, relates to the okay, Skinner, he shows that, for example, like gives an example. If a baby, when he comes to life, okay, and it's not a baby, he's a child, okay, he knows, and he has already, okay, has, okay, he has already had, um actually he has already had, okay, the background information, okay, about the sentences and the utterances. So for example, if the speaker and the hearer, I mean, okay, the hearer, which is the baby, and the speaker, okay, there is a man, tells him the boy was hit by the ball, then, okay, the baby, okay, will gonna confuse, I mean, okay, it's not baby, the child, maybe his age is 7, let's say. So it will confuse that, because you know why? It will confuse, okay, whether, okay, the boy or the ball, okay, was hit. So there is confusion, because why is that this confusion? Because actually the passivization, it doesn't occur, or maybe it doesn't occur yet, okay, in his or it doesn't occur in his brain yet. Okay, so that's mean that his competence, it needs more development and process in order to acquire this passivization's construction. So here, this is when it relates to what, to the what I've said about Skinner. This one, if I want to say, the question is I want to say, okay, how is it this one, okay, contrast, yep. So let's go to continue our discussions, okay, about the behaviorism. Behaviorism here, actually the question is the that behaviorism, the environment, is it crucial? I will say it's yes, and at the same time it's not. How it's yes, how and it's not. Actually, it's yes, okay, because it is the source of linguistic stimuli. But it is still not. Why? Because it provides a feedback. That means it's a provide a feedback, a systematic feedback to the learner's performance. This is yes, and the same time it's not the first of all, okay, it's not only one part, because there's a completion, which is also provides, okay, systematic feedback on the learner's performance, okay, whenever they have done mistakes before. So this one, behaviorism, actually it shows that Chomsky, when he said that the children produce, for example, Chomsky, actually, I remember of something that Chomsky says that, okay, the baby, or maybe, okay, the kids, babies come to life, okay, with the ability that's already provided, okay, with the certain procedures and mechanism, okay, in their minds. That means, okay, when I come to life, there is, okay, as if we are saying in Arabic, uh I will translate to English just like empty paper, okay, just like empty white paper, okay. So in this case, this what's called, in this case, the baby is able to acquire, or the baby, baby, how we can say, okay, baby can acquire whatever information comes to his mind, okay, and stick into his mind, and then develop it throughout, throughout interaction and communication with the other people. So here, so is this language, it's only that's me and baby comes okay without knowing a language? Of course not, because God already provides the human beings with a certain mechanisms, okay, in their minds that enable them to produce, okay, to use, sorry, to use this language, okay, to acquire this language, and then develop it in which way, okay, we can develop it, okay, we develop it throughout communication, I've said, okay, throughout, okay, schools, education, feedback from the from families and parents, okay, throughout practicing so different activities. This is when it can relate to behaviorism. So let's go to, yeah, so this is what Chomsky emphasis on. Let's go to the contrastive analysis hypothesis. We can say it just like CAH, the abbreviation. This one, okay, we've already talked about, okay, in the chapter of contrastive analysis hypothesis, as well, okay, the errors analysis hypothesis. Actually, this theory it shows that, okay, how the first and the second language uh, are not, how can I say, are not complex, okay, or complexity are not difficulty for the second language. How the child, how the child can get to how, okay, to correct, okay, the his errors. So if you want to say here, the second predicts, okay, where the similarities existed between the first and the second structures, but no difficulty, as if I said before. So here there are differences between first and second language acquisition, and there are problems, but as well as, okay, there are certain similarities between two. So whenever, okay, the child has done an error or mistake throughout the second language acquisition, then, okay, it will be feedback, okay, as if I said before, it's supposed to be their systematic feedback or the observation in order to correct what he has done. This is when it relates to the contrastive analysis. So let's go now, okay, with the cognitive psychology. I really like this theory, because you know why, okay, whenever I say cognitive, it comes to my mind, there is change in knowledge. That mean there is change in knowledge, of course, is it? Yes, of course there is change in knowledge, because knowledge, okay, is not fixed, and it comes from nothing, as if I translated, okay, it comes, okay, from nothing to something. That's something, I mean, nothing was something which is not exist before, okay, or maybe something is very rare, or maybe, okay, something is very new, so it comes to something. So here the change in knowledge. So cognitive knowledge, actually, it's from its name, how language, it's related to psychology, because I said that, okay, cognitive and psychology as well. Here it deals with the learning, okay, of course, just like learning or maybe requiring. I want to say something for cognitive psychology. It's here the cognitive, from its name, it needs more attention, it needs more effort. I will support my explanation with an example. For example, okay, there is a train, okay, is very fast, and there is a man, okay, standing on the on his way, and he wants to pass, okay, the way cross, but okay, he doesn't know, okay, what he should do. So he will, what he was gonna get to use his mind, okay, with the attention and with his efforts, in order, okay, to find solution, okay, and to get ready to pass, okay, this the runaway. So here, just like this example, so this cognitive, actually, it examines and it shows that the mentality, okay, the talents, okay, or maybe the intelligence, okay, shows that how the person can has the ability or has the mentality in order to find a solution to something. So this is what's related to cognitive psychology. If we want to continue about okay cognitive psychology, we can talk about talk about what that's something it's related to what actually something it's related to the restructuring. We know that restructuring actually it deals with the cognitive process. It shows that okay how the ideas, okay, how the information, the facts, okay, it comes okay, from the output to input, okay, and stored in the mind, okay, in different boxes, because okay, each box, okay, it has different it has different characteristic, okay, and they arrange them in a good way in humans competence. So this is when it relates to the contrast. Okay, let's go more about what let's go more okay to the information process. Here okay, the information process actually, whenever I say information process, here it shows how learners gonna to go throughout different okay stages, or we can okay different stages, yeah, how they acquire the language, how they use their effort and attention in order to understand and produce a language as well in the same time. So this is one okay for restructuring, and you can see here again the tree diagram how is divided. So this is one, yeah. So let's go here. I want to mention something about getting information. We know that actually, some researchers working with the information process actually processing models of second language acquisition. That's the most important thing that most of the scholars use, which is noticing. As if I said before, okay, we have to before make acquisition. I mean observation, which is noticing, and then we get to apply it. For example, here most of school students who have certain certain mistakes they have done, especially with the embedded questions. For example, we say, do you know what the children, or sorry, do you know what are the children doing? So they embedding they using two questions in the same time, but this is wrong. Actually the answer it will be just like, do you know that the children are doing, okay? So this one can relates to what it would be produced with the inversion. So let's go to the connectionism. This is the third theory to relate to psychological perspectives, because we have already divided to the linguistic perspective, psychological perspective, and I'm gonna discuss the other perspectives. So connections perspective, from its name, it's really obvious, okay, and clear. It relates to the connection. It relates to the something will be gathered. It relates to the association as well, how the words and the phrases is going to be combined in order to produce a full sentence, grammatically, systematically, syntactically. This one relates to how these the components or units can present a certain box in human minds, because we know already, because the human mind is divided into two hemispheres. One of the hemisphere, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, one of them which is totally required for the for pedagogically or education, mathematics, science, while the other one relates to the emotional, drawing, the habits in general. So here this one, the connectionism. Well, let's go to the possibility. Actually, I want to summarize it in three words. Okay, the results of the studies. Okay, the result of the studies of the second language acquisition. Okay, of the second language acquisition. So here it shows that actually it deals how or why, it's asking the questions why the first and the second language learners got certain or the same strategy, the same phases, okay, the same stages, and okay, without skipping one stage, because whenever okay there is supposed to be there, there is no, it's not real to skip one stage, okay, and go to the other skip. For example, is it possible okay to skip okay the critical period? Of course not. The all PAPs okay go through this period without skipping one of them. And this one can related to the processability theory, which is the fourth one. Actually, yeah, uh, this one can relates to possibility, yes. So let's go more to the interactionist. The interactionist came from its name, that interactionist is how it's gonna to from adjustments to comprehension and then to acquisition. This as if I wrote here. We know that most of this actually most of this theories and scholars okay, how deal with the second language acquisition and how this second language acquisition okay uh, play an important role in learning and takes place throughout the association and communication okay between between people. So this one, if we want to say this one can relate to for example here I give an example interaction with their caregivers okay and parents, which is related to linguistic and cognitive abilities. So here actually this includes what modification and simplification. For example, just like syntax, morphology, vocabulary, discourse, everything that relates to what to language. Let's go to the social lecture. Okay, social lecture. Actually, social lecture came from by Vodisky 1970. Sorry, by 1957, 87, right? I want to check it. Just wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay, 87 deals with the two important things okay with the cultures and mind. Whenever I say culture there's supposed to be the other thing which is mind. It starts from social then individual, and how this can knowledge okay because learners construct knowledge and how this knowledge actually tolerated okay and internalized okay by individuals okay. So here and how social culture tourists can actually focus on the interaction of the social maybe biological elements or maybe even the cultures, the society, everything that related to the background culture. Here shows that sorry. So here this one can relates to both k interlanguage and overgeneralization. Whenever k and say what does mean k by interlanguage? Interlanguage actually it relates what was kind to characterizing the developing linguistics okay. Interlanguage I mean the language the interlanguage okay that mean okay, I have to use a language with a certain characteristic and then develop it to the second language acquisition. But the question is it okay acquire language by adult it's easy rather than okay, the kids? Of course not okay. In vice versa, that children okay have ability to acquire language in easy way, but okay, adult they face certain difficulties in acquiring the second language acquisition. That's why it's really difficult for the adults to acquire, because you know why? Because there will be no universal grammar, there will be no critical period in their in adult age. That's why they will face certain difficulties. We know that here actually the first and the second language acquisitions okay, learners both they are make what they have the same feature, which is authorization. You know what's the meaning of authorization? Authorization just like they generalize whenever okay, for example I give example here. It is as two mouses okay, she goat. Here she goat, it's supposed to be she wants okay, but they generalize ed to every verb, to the regular and irregular, and this is the mistaken. This is one okay, it relates to the overgeneralization, to the overgeneralization. So here okay, let's go to the developmental sequences. We know that okay, Brown's one of the important scholars okay, who deals okay, with the developmental sequences, how these sentences get to be a grammatical correct with certain morphemes. And actually how the second learners, okay, actually they have the same sequences, okay, without missing any sequence, okay, of these grammatical morphemes. So this one, okay, deals with what? It deals with the second language acquisition. It's based on the is it, the question is, okay, is the first or the second language comes first? Of course, okay, the first language from its name, and the second language depends on the first language. Here we have the first, okay, influence. We know that actually more of or we have, okay, different points of views, okay, and the aspects, okay, about how language it's used, okay, from different and from different scholars. We have different opinions about, okay, how the language it influence all learners. For example, if I learn a second language or maybe a third language, let's just say, okay, let's fix on the second language. I'm learning a second language. I have, okay, my first language, which is, okay, Arabic, and Iraqi, while second language, which is okay, English language. So it is affected second language on the first language on my, of course it's affected on my behavior, okay, my identity. It's affected on words, okay, on ability in the way of thinking. It's affected on my maybe the way of thinking. How can I analyze certain things, okay, how my point of view to the world. It's actually, okay, certain or most of the scholars, okay, they're really afraid about this because and certain families they did not send their children, okay, to schools, especially, okay, to who are learning a second language, who are learning second language, for example, just like French or maybe English or whatever it is. But you know why? Okay, because, okay, they think that uh, their children gonna, okay, their children gonna lose, okay, their certain background culture. And this is it will be affected, but in one way or another. So this is one it deals. Let's go to the instructing and the second language acquisition. The instructing, there are certain structures actually which is really affected on second language acquisition, in the same way, in the same first language acquisition, but with the more effective, which is the second language acquisition. But learners actually move from one stage to and to another is very fast. For example, okay, when you see a baby, his age 1 month, okay, you will then, okay, after a month, okay, so he, in this case, it will be 2 months. You can see there is a development in his body, okay, in his mentality, in his way of responding when you are talking to him, because, okay, there is second language acquisition, okay, it's really affected on the human brain. And here one of the scholars, okay, as I said, okay, in 1982, one of the scholars, okay, Krashen, argue that and shows how the learning actually instructing and interfering, okay, with the second language acquisition. And it's really important, this one, it's how affected on the brain. And thank you so much. I hope you will get benefits from this explanation. Thank you again. Bye.